So let us see what are institutions. Let us see what do they mean. So they are arrangements made in all modern democracies in order to attend to these tasks. So a democracy works well when these institutions perform functions assigned to them. So the constitution of any country lays down basic rules on the powers and functions of such institutions. Let's take some examples. So some examples of such institutions are the Prime Minister and the Cabinet. They are institutions that take up all important policy decisions. Okay. So the civil servants who are working together are responsible for taking steps to implement the minister's decisions. Supreme Court is an institution where disputes between citizens and the government are finally settled. So, what this means is the Prime Minister and the Cabinet, so they take up the policy decisions. Further, the civil servants, the IAS, the IPS and the different cadres, they are responsible for taking steps to implement the decisions that are being made by the Prime Minister and the other ministers. Supreme Court is the main organ that resolves the disputes between the citizens and the government. Can you think of some other institutions and what is their role? So let us see what is the role of institutions. So what do institutions do? They involve rules and regulations which can bind the hands of leaders. Institutions involve meetings, committees and routines which often lead to delays and complications. Therefore, dealing with institutions can be frustrating and is not an easy task. In order to hold up the spirit of a democracy, a wider set of people must be consulted in any decision, which is why it leads to delays and complications. Hence, institutions are inevitable in any democracy. This means institutions are a must in every democracy because people must be consulted. And it involves a lot of rules and regulations, so people are the utmost people to be consulted. So you can think of which are the institutions that work in your school. Would it be better if one person alone took all the decisions regarding management of your school? Do you think that's a right way? Or all your students should be consulted, all the teachers should be consulted? What do you think is the right way? So we'll be seeing in this session the Parliament, which is the major legislative body of the government. So Parliament is that body, that institution of the government which is responsible for making laws. Laws that you and me as rightful citizens experience. So this is the picture of the Parliament. So let's first see, why do we need a Parliament? A national, first we are going to see what is the basic definition of a Parliament. Okay, so Parliament is a national assembly of elected representatives. In the state level, it's called the State Legislative Assembly. These representatives exercise supreme political authority on behalf of the people, thus catering to the main demand of a democracy. So, we're going to see a small pictorial diagram here. Parliament of India consists of two houses and the president. So these two make up the Parliament of India. So the two houses are further divided into Lok Sabha, which is also called House of the People, and Rajya Sabha, Council of States. Lok Sabha is also called the lower house. Rajya Sabha is called the upper house. The President of India is a part of the Parliament, although he or she is not a member of either house. You should know that the President is not a part of the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, but still he or she remains a part of the Parliament. Role of Parliament in exercising political authority. Parliament is the final authority for making laws in any country. So the parliaments can make new laws, they can change the existing laws or abolish the existing laws. We know the society is very dynamic and a law that was made 50 years ago will not be applicable now. So that's where the parliament comes into picture. Parliaments all over the world exercise some control over those who run the government. In India, this control is direct and full. That is, those running the government can take decisions as long as they enjoy the support of the parliament. Parliaments control all the money that governments have. Parliament is the highest forum of discussion and debate on public issues and national policy in any country. So, suppose a public issue is happening in the country, and so the parliament is the major, biggest forum where the discussion and debates happen there. So, let's see the two houses of parliament. Most large democratic countries divide the rule and powers of parliament into two parts, chambers or houses. What we have in India is the house. One house is usually directly elected by the people and exercises the real power on behalf of the people. The second house usually the people in the second house are elected indirectly and they perform some special functions like looking into the interests of various states, regions or federal units. In the Indian Parliament, we have a bicameral legislature. Bicameral legislature means a parliament having two houses, that is Lok Sabha, which is the lower house, and Rajya Sabha, which is the upper house. We have the picture of the Lok Sabha here, that's inside the parliament. So let's see the differences between the two houses, the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. This is a very important slide, so please do pay attention here. So in the Lok Sabha, first let's see the Lok Sabha. The total number of members in Lok Sabha is 552. So the members of the Lok Sabha are elected by the people directly. So you and I, who are 18 and above, we elect the people of the Lok Sabha. That concept is again called the universal adult franchising. So the length of the term of the members who are in the Lok Sabha is 5 years. It can be dissolved even before the completion of 5 years by passing the no confidence motion, which you will learn in later classes. The chairman of the Lok Sabha is the speaker. He is called the speaker. And the minimum age to become a member is 25 years for the Lok Sabha. And this house is the true representative of democracy because it's the people who rule the representatives that are representing in the Lok Sabha. So let's see the Rajya Sabha. The total number of members in the Rajya Sabha is 250. And they are indirectly elected by the members of all state legislative assemblies. So whatever MLAs we have in our respective states, they are instrumental into electing the members of the Rajya Sabha. So the length of the term of Rajya Sabha is 6 years and it is a permanent house. It cannot be dissolved. That means 1/3 of the members in the Rajya Sabha retire every second year. So every 2 years, 1/3 of the members retire and they are replaced by newly elected members. So the chairman of the Rajya Sabha is the Vice President of India. And the minimum age to become a member of Rajya Sabha is 30 years. So let's see the overriding powers of the Lok Sabha.